Okay, so Wakfu starts off in the world of 12. Obviously, everything is peaceful until a dragon named Gugalorgran appears and is carrying some type of precious cargo. So as my man is making his way downtown, walking fast, people around in the world of 12 is calling him an ogress. And I don't know what that is, but apparently that's what he is. All I do know is that this guy is a dragon. And so basically he is intercepted by Nox, and Nox is an X-Lore. Now Nox is our typical antagonist, and he's not with the bullshit. He's not with this dragon pulling up out of thin air and just carrying a whole lot of Wakfu on him. Now Wakfu is an energy source. Apparently Nox is obsessed by Wakfu, and he does whatever he can to literally just get Wakfu from anything he can get his hands on. So Nox sends some real energy on this guy, and he's like, hey bro, I'm gonna be real, you can't go anywhere until I get some of that Wakfu. But the dragon chooses violence, and he's not with any of Nox's bullshit. So he's like, yo man, listen, you got 5 seconds to get out of my face, I'm gonna show you what this Wakfu could really do. So the two of them start duking it out 1v1, and the dragon has some really creepy mist powers, and Nox doesn't really know what he's getting himself into, but he just is hungry for that Wakfu, so he's gonna try to pretty much take down this legendary dragon. Nox shoots some crazy command man blast out of his sword. Obviously he misses, because you know what I'm saying, he's a dragon, he's been around these ropes 10 times 100 times before, right? But Nox ends up using his special power, which we all know he is an X-Lore, which means he has time manipulation, time magic. So he uses it. He's about to do a Rock Lee primary lotus right on top of this dragon's head, but the dragon is so powerful that he ends up breaking the time spell that is cast upon him and literally blows this guy away with the breath of fire and literally almost killing him. But for some reason Nox is like turned on by this. He's like, oh my god, wow, I almost died. I gotta get some of that magic, right? Total psychopath. So the dragon continues his journey, and turns out he's actually trying to find a guardian for the main character, Yugo. Now Yugo is an Elotrob. He is now a baby though. He, you know what I'm saying, he's like this precious cargo because he is a rare species of being, pretty much. He's related to the dragons, and he has these very special powers. So this dragon is looking for a good home to basically put him in so that he can be protected, so he can fulfill a prophecy. So the dragon comes across this guy named Alibert, who is with his best friend Rule, and Alibert is at his last leg. He's thinking about retirement because he feels like he's wasted his whole life doing this Enotrof stuff, and really he hasn't found anything worth his time. So basically he ends up showing some type of sympathy to the people he's catching. I guess he's some type of like law enforcement as well. The dragon sees his heart, and he feels like he is the perfect person to watch Yugo until he is old enough to be able to fulfill this prophecy. So he ends up placing Yugo right next to Alibert, like he's a freaking baby on a freaking front porch or something. Like the parents just ran off, and you know, he ends up sending this cryptic message inside of this tofu leaf, and he gives the message to Alibert like, listen, you gotta take care of this guy, he's really important. And so he does. So 10 years later, Yugo is now a teenager, and now he finally awakens his power while cooking for his dad, because you know his dad ended up being retired from being an Enotrof, and now he's a baker, and he just serves his community. But while Yugo is cooking, he actually discovers that he has these magical abilities to summon portals and literally move through them and move things through them. Like literally he is on some Azarath Metro Synthos type of stuff, man. And then boom, a random demonic IOP comes into the inn and start disrupting everything. So apparently this IOP is possessed by some type of Shushu. A Shushu is a demon, so just keep that in mind. He's possessed by a Shushu which lives inside of his sword, but it ends up taking his brain and his body over because when he's too weak to fight or defend himself, the Shushu kind of steps in and takes over his body. And for being just 10 years old, Yugo steps up to this big ass demon like it's nothing. Like literally his dad and Rule didn't want no pressure with him, but you can see Yugo's clearly not scared. He does not fuck with this guy, and he is like, yo bro, like come this way bro, let's throw hands. So it is obvious from the jump that Yugo Yugo is special and is obviously the chosen one. So they end up getting tossed around by the demon, I'm not gonna lie. But then Yugo finally gets up and gets the power and courage to actually separate the Shushu from this Ayop. And then randomly, Albert decides to drop this huge load on Yugo, like literally the first episode, about, yo, you're not even my kid, you're adopted, your real family is actually somewhere out there, and you need to go find them so you can go fulfill this prophecy that this random dragon gave me. Now, this is a huge thing to just drop on a 10-year-old. Like, that's kind of crazy that, hey, listen, you were adopted, now you have to go save the world, right? That's pretty much what he drops in his face on episode 1. Oh, and by the way, 10 years later, Nox is still obsessed with the freaking Wakfu that he felt 10 years ago from that dragon, and he's still low-key obsessive and still stalking Yugo and Albert. I just want you to keep that in mind. Then simultaneously, as he's dropping this whole prophecy to his jit, the whole town gets overrun by some type of heartless demons that are now turning everyone into bushes of trees. So you start to think that, man, damn, Nox is so powerful, but this is actually the work of a legendary tree nymph that is inside of the dark forest, who ended up seeking revenge on humanity because of Nox taking all of the Wakfu out of the forest for himself. And by the way, Nox is so powerful, he has these little bugs things flying away. And once Rule, Rule is obviously Albert's best friend. He is also an Enotrof, and he was the one who actually continued to do the actual, job. So he's actually skilled with his sword shovel, and basically he destroys one of Nox's like spy bugs. And when he destroys it, a little bit of Wakfu energy ends up splashing on the grass and ends up actually creating a huge tree. So I just want to say, Nox is pretty powerful. If just a little bug that he created can literally make a whole huge acorn tree or this big ass tree out of just a little bit of Wakfu. So just, he's pretty strong. Like, and also he took that ass beating from the freaking dragon. Like, come on. And he lived. Like, that, that's a feat right there. So the little demons end up turning Yugo's dad into a tree, and now Yugo, Rule, and the Ayop set off to figure out what is happening. Why are everyone in the village is turning into grass creatures? And on their way to figure out what happens, they also end up running into Amelia and this Craw. The Craw has a weird name. I'll give it to you later. So obviously they end up teaming up and becoming one team, because obviously this is typical writing. So they decide that they want to go after what is happening and save everyone in the town. But what you don't know is that the Sadida that is with them, Amelia, is actually a princess from her kingdom. And basically, she is a protector of nature because she is an embodiment of the Sadida god. So she has the powers to be able to, summon plants and everything like that, and also heal them. So they end up going into the dark forest, seeing that Nox was here and fucked everything up. And they end up coming in contact with the legendary tree niche that I told you about that was turning everybody into trees. And they end up having this one-on-one conversation. He's like, oh my god, you are the embodiment of the spirit god Sadida, and she ends up healing his wounds and therefore giving him hope that there is a future for him and the forest. That ends up turning the whole town back into their original selves, humans, and now the 5 of them are back into the town. And then out of nowhere, Nox just comes through and just ruins the whole family reunion. Like, he's not fucking with it. This guy, there's something wrong with this guy. So Nox grills Yugo like, yo bro, I know you know where the dragons are. Tell me where the dragons are so I can go get that Wakfu. Do not play with me, bro. And he uses time magic to basically freeze everybody. But what ends up happening is Albert's will to actually save his son from this evil person actually breaks the curse of the time magic that Nox has, and he actually breaks it and tries to literally shove a shovel straight through this man's face. Obviously Nox gets away because he is slippery, and you know what I'm saying, he's not gonna kill Nox. Like, come on, let's be real. But Albert breaking the spell did come with a cost. It ended up aging him significantly, and now he is an old man. Now he's a real Enotrof, am I right? So now Yugo understands his destiny, he has his team, and now he is going forward to fulfill the prophecy that the dragon gave him the day he came. And now they set forward for the new adventure.